Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, in today's build, we are building a lovely little bungalow home. And I say lovely because I'm obsessed with this style of house. I see them all the time when I'm going on my walks during my lunch break, and I just can't get enough of them. I've looked them up a lot on Zillow recently just because I'm like, is there a website where I can look and see where I can move into a bungalow home? Because I don't know, I just feel like I see them a lot in like areas that have like a really like older, almost like historic downtown. And where I work, it's a lot like that. So I feel like that's why I see them a lot. And I've just been kind of doing more research on them recently because I'm obsessed. And I had to build a house in The Sims of it. And I have built houses very similar to this anyway. So if you guys want to go check it out, or check some of those out, go to my gallery. My origin or my EAID, however you want to say it, is ashleyyangelinaa with 2 Y's and 2 A's at the end of Angelina. But let me just read to you Google's definition of a bungalow. You okay? My dog is in here and he just... Oh, you're having lots of fun. That's awesome. But I'm actually trying to do something important. So please and thank you. So a bungalow is a style of house or cottage that is typically either a single story or has a second, half, or partial story that is built into a sloped roof. Bungalows are typically small in terms of size and square footage and often are distinguished by the presence of dormer windows and verandas. So this house, I guess, doesn't have a dormer window, but it does have a veranda. And I guess the reason I thought that they were called bungalow homes was this veranda, which is basically the front porch. I just assumed that's what made it a bungalow. I don't know why. I wonder where it actually like got that name, but I don't know. I like the way that this build ends up turning out. It does end up being a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, so I guess it's definitely on par for it being a little bit smaller, but it does have a nice open floor plan. And I'm not huge on open floor plans just because I feel like for me personally, it's really hard to make all the rooms cohesive and matching when it comes to wallpapers and just, I don't know, even if the kitchen is on the opposite end of the living room, I feel like the swatches I use have to be similar, if not the same. And I don't know, it can just... I often end up getting kind of all over the place in my head, and I get 2 in my head where I'm like, oh, this isn't going to look good. And I don't know. I just think, and I'm sure anyone that builds in The Sims especially uploads your builds onto the gallery and makes videos about them, kind of, I'm kind of bragging right now. I'm like, oh, this house ends up being so dope, blah, blah, blah. But like, I don't know. I just want to feel good about it. And I feel like often I'm like hard on myself, but it's hard to not be hard on yourself when you're literally sharing this with whoever wants it. You know what I mean? So I could probably ease up a little bit here, but I don't know. It ends up working out very well. I'd say like my favorite rooms in this is like the laundry room, which is closed off. The laundry room, and I really like what I did with the parents' bedroom. So I don't know. It just all looks really good, and I paired some items together that I wouldn't normally put together. Blue, stop it. Oh my gosh. I did so much to prepare for this video in terms of sound. So it's kind of a warmer day. It's also windy, and I was originally going to record my voiceover downstairs, but our ice maker was going off, and I was like, okay, like sometimes it will just be going off for like 30 minutes, and I'm not going to be doing that. So I came upstairs. I had to turn off my fan because that was making noise, and then I had to unplug my cat's water bowl because it's like a water fountain, and then I got everything super quiet, and then the dog came in here and started licking his paws and rolling around and just, I mean, he's being cute, but also like, don't do that right now, okay? I did a lot to make it really quiet in here. But I wanted to say, since we're into like the landscaping at this point, I placed these more like overgrown type plants, and I don't know, they're the ones that are kind of all around the house, and I sized them down just like one size. But I end up having, I think, 2 of them side by side on the opposite end of the house where we're at right now. It ends up being on the outside of the bathroom. So where the 2 smaller windows are, those 2 bush-like, I guess they're kind of like hedges almost, from the Debug catalog, made my toilet in the bathroom not functional. My sim couldn't get to it. And they also weren't able to repair or bathe their dog in like their shower tub combo with that plant there. So that's like a slight mishap, a slight difference that you'll notice that didn't quite make it into the speed build, but it was something I realized during gameplay. And I was like, I'm not going to start a screen recording just to show you that I switched out some random plants that are on the side of the house. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So anyway, just figured I'd throw that out there since it just popped into my head as I was looking at the landscaping. But here we're like basically starting to furnish the kitchen here. So I do use these cabinets and counters a lot from Parenthood, but I don't often use this swatch. And I was very happy to make it work in here. I think it looks good with the green wallpaper. I do end up tiling the walls in this kitchen. Also, I think I use a Parenthood tile for there, but I just really liked how I paired it with this orange and wood swatch for like these bar stools. And I do unfortunately end up getting rid of this little island area where those seats are because it ends up looking too crowded in my opinion, and it wasn't quite to my liking with how crowded it looked with the dining room table there and those tables or those chairs there. So I end up placing this half wall, and I end up placing a larger table that seats 6. So there's still plenty of space, you know, for the Sims that live here. And if they want to have friends over or have a party, there's still plenty of seating. And I do still end up using the bar stools. I just use them somewhere else, kind of right off of the kitchen. I make this little office kind of area because it is a 2-bed, 1-bath. So there wasn't really anywhere for me, any better place for me to put a computer unless I were to like place it in one of my Sims rooms. But I don't know. I like the color scheme that I do in this area specifically. I end up switching this rug out for, I think it's a paranormal stuff pack one. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm obsessed with that rug. Like I have rugs like that at my house that look very similar. It's almost like, I guess it almost looks kind of Victorian, but it's just, I don't know, just really pretty. And I was mentioning how I don't usually use those swatches of the counters and the cabinets. Well, the cabinets I use because they're white, but the counters with the brown like countertop in the kitchen, I don't often use that swatch for that reason. And I just think it's because I don't really know how to quite mix and match different tones when it comes to like wood tones, but I think in this build I do a good job of that. So as you can see, the brick and the wood of the fireplace is white. And the trim of the windows is also white. And I do put in some, I guess, like white tones in the house. But I think for the most part, like actual furniture that I place is this darker wood tone. And I don't know, I think it ends up looking really good. And I don't typically use this swatch of this couch either. And in the parents' bedroom, I don't ever use the bed or that swatch. So I'm kind of like, it was almost like this ended up being like an experimental build, but it ended up working out really well. So I was very proud of the end result. Here is where I'm placing those bar tops. So this is that little area that I mentioned. I kind of turn into like a little office area. And I was considering putting a basement so we could have like a little office or like kind of den situation down there. And I'll get into that in a little bit because of the family that I have living here. But I wanted to put some kid clutter here, but I also wanted to put some like work clutter for the parents that live here too. So I guess we can just kind of get into who this family is. So I'm sure you noticed, but I placed 2 pet bowls because we do have 2 small pets in this household. The first one is a little dog. His name is Oliver. Oh my gosh. His name is Oliver, and he is a Lhasa Apso. His traits are couch potato, stubborn, and vocal. And their cat, he is a Persian. His name is Bob. He's lazy, fluffy, and friendly. I just realized that both the animals are kind of lazy. We've got a couch potato and a lazy one. So, and I mean, we could definitely say a couch potato is like super lazy. So those are the pets that live here, and I end up making this household have two parents, a mother and a father, and a daughter. So we'll start off with the mom. Her name is Sandra. She's adventurous, a genius, and good, and her aspiration is to be fabulously wealthy. And I believe that one is just where your sim wants to have a successful and like lucrative career, which gives you the bonus trait of being business savvy. So I end up making Sandra a detective, and that was just because I don't have any of my own personal sims that are detectives. And honestly, it's really fun sometimes when you know you're going to be doing a decent amount of gameplay with a specific family. It's fun to do the professions because then you can actually like go to work with them and actually like do stuff. You don't just like sit around and wait for them to come home. Like you actually can go to work with them, but you also have the option to not. So it's like nice. But anyway, that's who the mother is. And then the dad's name is Roger. He is ambitious, loves the outdoors, and is a bookworm. And his aspiration is leader of the pack, which gives him the bonus trait of being gregarious. So I end up having him be a secret agent. And how that all worked out was when it comes to the dad, I actually created him via story. So I'm sure you guys know if you play Sims, you're probably familiar with the different ways you can create Sims. You know, you can download them off the gallery, you know, from fellow Simmers. You can just randomize them, or, you know, you can create your Sim through a story, which is kind of nice in the sense that like it lines them up with a job, and it kind of tells you like what their funds are going to be at their job and picks out your traits for you. And I don't know if that really affects the way that their appearance is, but I like to think it is, because then I feel like I don't have to sit there and like tweak, you know, their ears and their nose and their cheekbones too much just to like make them look different than all my other Sims, you know what I mean? So that's what I did for him. And I don't know, I pictured that he would be more into politics, but once he became a secret agent, I was like, well, we could just pretend that Roger and Sandra met through work. You know, they're both in like law enforcement. So I left it. I felt like it was kind of perfect. And then last but not least, their daughter, her name is Amber. She is a perfectionist and she has the motor aspiration. For her, I imagined that if the Sims had actual like team sports for your Sims, that she would be really good at team sports, whether it was a swim team, soccer team, softball, basketball, whatever it may be. I just imagined she would be naturally good at it because she's just really athletic and into sports. And I also imagined for her that she is studious and just, even though she's a child sim, she dreams of going to university. You know, she really wants to go to college and make good money like her parents do. So I just, that's kind of what I was going for with her. You know, with child sims, they only have one trait at this point. So in my head, I kind of try to like think about, well, who is this person going to be and stuff like that. So that's kind of how I imagined Amber being. And I mentioned earlier that her mom, Sandra, is adventurous and both the parents make decent money. So I just kind of figured, well, maybe they like to go to Mount Komorebi, you know, once a year on like a little family vacation to go skiing together. So that, again, that kind of goes with the mom being adventurous. And I figured it would be a perfect family bonding thing for them to do. And also, since Amber, I imagined, would be, you know, more athletic and into sports and things like that, that she would be naturally just really good at skiing. So it would just be a fun thing for the family to do together. I also imagine that maybe this family goes camping sometimes too, even though maybe they do this annual trip to Mount Komorebi. You know, maybe they can go camping here and there. And I don't know, I think it would be kind of nice to actually have them like tent camp, you know. A lot of the times when I have my Sims camp, depending on the family, of course, like if they have toddlers and I just have them go to like a cabin, but it's really fun to actually make your Sims go camping because there's a lot of people that prefer to go camping in a trailer, or, some people say that they're camping when they're in like a cabin. But in my opinion, when I think of camping, I think of tent camping, or, at least being like in an RV or a trailer. And I don't know, I just imagine that maybe this family really likes doing that because, again, the dad is outdoorsy, mom's adventurous. So I just thought it would be kind of a fun thing for them to do. And now that we have lifestyle traits, I think that's what I know it's like a lifestyle thing, but I think it's like a lifestyle trait. I don't know, I just imagine that maybe this family just, really loves the outdoors, and that they have to keep that lifestyle trait intact and active. And maybe I'll take them camping every couple of sim weeks. And I do end up placing a fire pit, not one of the fancy ones, but one of the ones that's like surrounded by the rock, on the side of the house. So maybe this family, even though maybe they can't go camping that weekend, but they can still roast some marshmallows or hot dogs or fish, just in the comfort of their own side yard. I've basically, we still have a little bit of this video left, but I've talked through a lot of it and haven't really talked too much about the build. Here we're basically wrapping up the bathroom, and I'm kind of all over the place. When I first went to build this, I didn't have my mods enabled because there was a recent patch update and my OMSP shelf wasn't in game. So when I went back through to place more stuff and kind of finish up my build, I was able to, realign things to the right height and whatnot. But I think up next, I'm going to be moving into the parents' bedroom. I'm just kind of cluttering up a little bit again, like I said. Oh, nope. Here is where I'm placing the closet. So I really do like the way that this little, I guess it's almost like a mudroom / laundry room. I really like the way it turned out. And I was having a little bit of an issue with it in the beginning, visually wise. Like in my head, I was just like, it's really cluttered on one side, and then the opposite wall was like bare and there was nothing there. And even with the little amount of clutter I had placed there, I was like, I don't know, it's still too bare, too open. So I was glad that I thought to even put that closet there from Get Together. I'm pretty sure it's from Get Together. And basically, yep, moving on to the parents' room. Perfect. So I placed this bed. I don't ever use this bed. Therefore, I don't ever use this swatch. And I think the only time I've ever used this bed, I actually used this swatch, but I was branching out for sure with this build. And I end up placing a chair. I want to say it's from Paranormal Stuff Pack, but I place it like that taller like armchair in here, and it goes so well with this swatch of bed and these what do you call it? And these lamps. Hello, it's a lamp. It all just matches so well. So I'm really glad that I kind of stepped out of my comfort zone. I often build and decorate these houses how I would imagine would be best, especially when it comes to the decorations. I'm like, well, I'm into like more of a boho look, like cluttered, colorful boho, but not everyone is like that. Even Sims, even though I sit there and create them, not all of them realistically are going to want to have that style of house. So it's fun to kind of like mess around with different things, especially once I'm like putting things together and I'm like, oh, see, this is why you should just like branch out more often and not stick to like all the same old stuff. So I don't know. I was really happy with how easy it actually ended up being for me. So that was kind of cool to see. And then here I am just placing some stone on the ground to kind of connect these two staircases. I wouldn't even call it a staircase because it's literally like 3 steps, but to kind of connect the front and the backyard by this little side yard area. I do end up forgetting to place an actual garbage can. The garbage can that's like chilling in the front of the house right now is a debug garbage can, but I just really like that bright green swatch. So I place it there, but I do end up placing it on the side of the house, and it doesn't make it into the actual speed build, but it's on the side of the house where I'll end up putting the fire pit. And here I'm just placing some lights. I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but when I'm placing outdoor lights, I should just change the time of day to night so I can actually see what it looks like. I mean, hello, I'm so smart. But I end up placing a slip and slide in this build, and I don't often do that because they're just so big. You know, they're so long, you have to have a decent size yard for it. And I feel like often they almost like stick out kind of like a sore thumb a little bit, where it's just like, wow, like it doesn't, I mean, you could have a super colorful backyard and the slip and slide will match, but I don't know, it's just like really in your face, like bright and very like kitty-like, which it makes sense. It's a slip and slide, but I just kind of figured it would be a fun little thing for the family to do. And, you know, when it's like 4th of July, you know, they can all just kind of hang out and do some water activities and just enjoy the holiday. But anyway, we are actually coming up on the screenshots already. Make sure to leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Make sure to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe so you can see my future builds. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in another build. Bye. Okay, tippy tappies, please lay down. You gotta chill, bro. You gotta chill. Took you on a walk this morning. You just went potty. I just gave you fresh water. Chill. Please stop.